I'm with this
complexion.
Two-step.
Complexion don't mean a thing.
Across cultures, appearance has long been associated with social standing. The characteristic kinky texture of African hair allowed people to indicate marital status, wealth, and age, with intricate hairstyles dating from the 15th century. Biologically speaking, the thickness and curliness of African hair provided greater scalp protection from the sunny climate. Other groups of people that evolved further from the equator tended to develop straighter hair that provided less UV protection. Throughout the period of colonization and during the African slave trade, tribes were completely obliterated, as shown in Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart, due to their characterization as savages by Europeans. This was partially due to their different ways of life and partially due to their unique appearance, such as their dark skin and kinky hair. Those that were brought to the Americas were not only forced into inhumane conditions, but were also antagonized for not withholding European standards of beauty. Although blacks began to assimilate a few decades after slavery was ended during the New Negro movement in the 1920s, the deeply rooted effects of prejudice were still evident in their ideals. For example, Wynald Reese's iconic rendition of the Virgin Mary entitled Brown Madonna portrays a black woman holding a baby Jesus as a symbol of strength and racial pride. However, her straightened hair shows a significant effort by black women to attain straight European hair, which was seen as more beautiful. This symbol was looked up to in the African American community, which further enforced these ideas. Nonetheless, black people were still able to benefit out of pride movements. Madam C.J. Walker became the first black American female millionaire after building her hair care line by advertising her pomade and hair straightening techniques to women across the South. Later on, during the civil rights movement, the afro became popular as a form of expression of pride and lineage in African diaspora. This was also one of the first times a gradient of blackness was adopted into the African American community. Because some young people did not want to wear their hair in this manner, they were seen as less black as others. During the 1970s and 80s, braids and locks became more popular, but were looked down on in the work world because they were not seen as professional. Recently, the natural hair movement has prompted many African American women to cut off their chemically processed hair to grow their naturally kinky texture. There is still controversy today regarding whether or not these hairstyles are professional. There is also controversy within the African American community that reflects attitudes toward the afro during the civil rights movement. Some feel that those that wear the chemically processed hair are denying their blackness. So, do you think black hair unifies the African American community?
In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. Like, yes, because I feel like the first compliment you always get from other black girls is like, yes, hair, like, wow, hairs. But I also say no because there's always like a lot of controversy with natural hair versus protective styling versus perms, and I think that actually divides the community in a way because some people that are natural like are really against people that get perms and like think all types of stuff that they like assimilate to white culture, that they're like selling themselves out and like all of this other stuff, and like really it's just like people are trying to express themselves how they want to. People are trying to like look and feel confident, and however that is to someone, you shouldn't knock somebody else for doing that.
Yeah, because like whenever I'm at like shows or like events or something, like people are always complimenting my hair, and I'm like, wow, thanks, and I'm like compliment their hair, and start conversations. Like we can just give each other tips and stuff, and like talk about like experiences and like stuff like that.
I think black hair unifies the African American community because there's always a learning aspect to it or sharing of information. So whether you have a 1C type of hair or a 4C type of hair, and I think it creates a sense of community that is natural and organic, and that won't go away. It's definitely a centerpiece in the black culture, and I think that it's important, it's fun, and I personally have a lot of great memories and stories from centered around hair.
Solo live.
Ooh, complexion.